It should be noted by this court that at this point, Advocate Matthews inquired whether the request for further particulars on behalf of accused 2 and the state's response was attached to the charge sheet. It was not, and on inquiry from the state, being Advocate Caesar, informed the court that he was not aware of any further particulars, as it is not contained in the case packet or file, but will ascertain this information and provide same to court. I think at this point it will be appropriate then to deal with the request for further particulars, which was submitted by Advocate Matthews at the end of his address before judgment. Therefore, the request is as follows. Advocate Matthews filed a request for further particulars on behalf of accused 2 on the 22nd of June 2020, and in that the request is based on the charge sheet as presented to accused 2 in respect of counts 4 and 6. The defense confirms that they have been supplied with statements A1 to A120 and requested to provide a copy of the document marked A89. Insofar as count 4, the state was requested to inform Advocate Matthews on what the state is relying on to prove that accused 2 failed to take reasonable precautions to avoid danger to persons or property, including which circumstances the state is relying on to prove there was a risk to the general public, and also in what circumstances or stage of the incident is it alleged that accused 2 had control of a loaded firearm. With regards to count 6, it was requested as to on what acts is the state relying on to prove that accused 2 gave or in any other manner supplied Mr. Julius Malema with a firearm, including a .223 bullet, and also to supply the defense with a statement by Colonel Nkwadleka setting out how he reached this conclusion, including photographic proof of such conclusion as envisaged in the court charts that they were provided with. And the state is also further requested to supply the defense with the results of the muzzle flash test. The above is a summary of the request for further particulars on behalf of accused 2. The state replied to the request on 31 August 2020, and that is confirmed that copies of images, reports and statements were now supplied to the defense on behalf of accused 2. Further statements obtained after the docket was supplied to the defense is now provided, being A124 to A125. The retake of Mr. Malema's fingerprints and SMT 69s marked A122 and A123. The results of the statements provided to the defense. Further, it was highlighted by the state that A21 was indeed a warning written statement obtained from Tolani Larry Mavundla and is marked as A121, which was obtained on the 5th of November 2019, indicated that he had elected to remain silent, and a copy of A21 will be provided to the defense at the next court appearance. The court was not informed that A21 was not provided to the defense and therefore proceeds on the premises that it has indeed been provided. The previous unmarked statement by Colonel Nkwadleka is also now supplied and marked in the docket as A133 A89 is an acknowledgement of receipt attached to the statement of Khaled Now, marked A85, and also supply. Compact discs containing recordings and images were supplied to the defense, and that all evidence in possession of the state is now supplied to the defense. In response to count 1, the state replied, Tactical Security Service was the service provider contracted for armed guards, close protection, and the bodyguarding for Mr. Malema at the event, place and date already placed on record. Further, that Mr. Snyman introduced himself as the owner of the business to the police. Further, that accused 2 handed a rifle that belongs to Tactical Security Services to Mr. Malema, and that Mr. Malema used the rifle to fire shots in the air at a public gathering. Mr. Snyman was present at the time the rifle was fired and retrieved from Mr. Malema. In summary, further, that the Sisa Dukashi Stadium is situated in a built-up area and full of members of the public, the crew working at the stadium and police. Mr. Snyman is also the only, and I quote, white male identified on the stage before and after the shooting of the rifle. Mr. Malema is then seen firing the rifle. There is no statement of a witness in that regard. I emphasize and highlight what I'm reading out now is the response by the state to the request for further particulars by Advocate Matthews, not what was in fact presented. It's the reply that I'm reading. Then with regards to count 6, the state replied that Tactical Security Services is the owner of rifle CN SPA 249-14. The video footage shows 2 shooting incidents, the first being the shooting of a handgun and the second incident the shooting of a rifle. Further, after the first shooting incident, the tall African male is seen receiving the handgun from Mr. Malema. He then walks to the back of the stage and the handgun and receives the handgun from Mr. Malema. He then walks to the back of the stage and speaks to the white male standing next to the stairs. At that stage, Mr. Malema is seen dancing on the stage and then turns towards the back of the stage, making a hand gesture or sign. And the white male is then seen at the back of the stage with the rifle, whereafter Mr. Malema is then seen firing the rifle, and Mr. Snyman took the rifle directly after it was fired from Mr. Malema and then moved to the back of the stage. The said firearm CN SPA 249-14 was booked out according to the records of Tactical Security Services to Larry Mabunda, who is an employee of Tactical Security Services and who was also present at the event. Time, date, place already placed on record, my summary. Then on 6 August 2018, the firearm serial number CN SPA 249-14 was presented to Colonel Janssen by Mr. Larry Mabunda with the explanation that the company knew that the South African police services were needed for ballistic testing as a result of an alleged incident. Also that the firearm was not in East London at the time the event was hosted, that it was being sent by the keys to, and a cartridge was recovered in the stadium after the incident that is linked to the said firearm CN SPA 249-14. Therefore, the cartridge recovered was fired by the said firearm. Court charts 1 to 7, which which was compiled by Colonel Ngwadleka, was also supplied to the defense in this regard, and that statements marked A131 to A133 also now supplied to the defense. In essence, that is the summary of the further particulars that is read with the charge sheet. The state called the following witness to testify and listed by court in no particular order, or the order that the state witness were called to testify, but in an attempt to differentiate between the various witnesses and the occupation at the time. Therefore, the court had attempted to list them accordingly, being firstly Ntombi Fikile Mankomo, a cleaner at the time of the alleged incident; Nomfundo Luwana, the supervisor of the above-mentioned employee; Jonathan Kumalu, assistant manager at the time. The police officers who testified in no particular order being Colonel Nkwali, the SAPS member in charge of the EFF 5th celebration; Captain Swart, the member of SAPS who retrieved or received the spent cartridge in question; Lieutenant Colonel Janssen of the Provincial Firearm Liquor and Second-Hand Goods Unit; Warrant Officer Becker, a witness that attended the alleged crime scene; Colonel Ngwadleka, attached to the ballistic section of SAPS in Port Elizabeth. I refer to it as Port Elizabeth as it was still Port Elizabeth in the year 2018. Captain Mzuku, a cluster communication officer of SAPS in East London; Captain Creer, the recipient of 3 batches of firearms; Warrant Officer Steenkamp, a qualified facial identification specialist; Captain Botha, attached to the Cybercrime Investigation Unit; Captain Govender, at the time a Media Center controller and spokesperson; Colonel Swartboy, being the investigating officer of the matter before court; and Dwayne Francis, a digital forensic investigator at the time. The state further called Sydney Standard, the regional manager, Eastern Cape of SIRA, Private Security Industry Regulating Authority, and with regards to the Gear House Company employees, Sibusiso Ngobo, an audiovisual technician employed by Gear House at the time of the incident; Ashley Singh, the branch manager of Gear House at the time; and Samuel Quata, a senior audiovisual technician employed by Gear House at the time. The defense opted to follow accused 2, to allow accused 2 to present evidence ahead of accused 1, and in this regard, the following witnesses were called during the defense case on behalf of accused 2: Mr. Martin Wood, an attorney by profession, and also responsible for the firearm-related issues pertaining to tactical security services, and also contributed to the drafting of the legislation of the Firearms Control Act 60 of 2000. It was followed by the evidence of Mr. de Klerk, which the court will refer to as the ballistic defense expert, if so declared by court during these proceedings at an appropriate stage. That concluded the evidence presented on behalf of accused 2. The defense for accused 1 opened the defense case and called accused 1 to testify. After the evidence of accused 1, the following list of exhibits by the state, with the consent of the state and the defense, The contents with which the court will deal at the appropriate time was submitted by the defense or accused one. No. I will deal with all the exhibits presented and by chronological order. I think that would be more sensible. Firstly, the following exhibits has been placed before court. Exhibit A, depicting a photo of the sealed cartridge retrieved from the scene. Exhibit A1 and A2, photos depicting the spent cartridge that was retrieved on the premises, and an enlarged photo pertaining to the structure. Exhibit B, an affidavit drafted by Mr. Stander pertaining to one Mr. Mabunda. Exhibit B1, affidavit deposed by Mr. Stander pertaining to Mr. Snyman. Exhibit C, the statement and report of Captain Jansen, which was accepted by consent of all parties. Exhibit D, the sworn affidavit drafted by Warrant Officer Philip Becker. Exhibit D1, photo album and key drafted by Warrant Officer Becker. Exhibit D2, photo album and key drafted by Warrant Officer Becker. Exhibit D3, video footage, still images drafted by Warrant Officer Becker. Oh no, there is a clear rule of no still photos during the court evening session, please. Exhibit D4 was the submitting of the evidence of Philip Becker and confirmed by the witness Vincent Mkomo. Exhibit E, the forensic ballistic document drafted by Colonel Ngwadleka. Exhibit E1, exhibits for ballistic analysis that will include Exhibit E2, Exhibit E3, Exhibit E4, E5, E6, E8, Exhibit E9, including Exhibit E10, all pertains to the ballistic reports by Colonel Ngwadleka, and the court will deal with the contents thereof in full. All of these said reports were submitted during the evidence of Colonel Ngwadleka. Exhibit F is also, that was marked as the court charts compiled by Colonel Ngwadleka, depicting 7 pages of court charts. Exhibit G, an affidavit deposed by Nkosiko Vincent Mzuko. Exhibit H, report compiled by Sergeant Dwayne Francis regarding mobile phone analysis. Exhibit I, the report and affidavit drafted by Warrant Officer Steenkamp, the facial and identification expert. Exhibit J, the report compiled by Captain Rion Botha from Cybercrime and the Forensic Unit. Exhibit K1 and K2 are both statements submitted during the cross-examination of Captain Marley Govender. Exhibit L, the fire compliance. It is in the form of a letter pertaining to tactical security services indicating that they are indeed compliant. And Exhibit L2 is a letter drafted by the NPA to General Masemola. Defense exhibits was Exhibit M, being the affidavit and report compiled by Mr. Jan de Klerk during the evidence of accused number 1. The following written statements were submitted. An affidavit compiled by Andile Kuma, Affidavit compiled by Lungisa and Zeleni. Affidavit compiled by Pia Kare. Affidavit compiled by Thomas Chauke. Affidavit compiled by Mengu Vera. That's the best I can pronounce. As stated, I need to repeat evidence and certain aspects in cross-examination which will be relevant when the court arrives at its reasoning and finding. So I cannot skip any portions of this. I will firstly deal with the evidence of Tomfikile Makoma. She testified she's employed on a contractual basis at Buffalo City Municipality as a cleaner at the Sisa Dukashe Stadium in Tanzania. She was on duty on 30 July 2018. Since she formed part of the team who had to clean the stadium after the EFF rally that was held on 28 July 2018, the witness and one Kumeza walked onto the field in the same direction and started to clean the field area. It was dirty and they picked up screws, bolts, bones and dirt. As she got close to the lamppost, she picked up a cartridge and showed it to Kumeza and said the reason why she called her, I quote, is it is the first time for her to see such a big one. That I quote verbatim. In essence then, the size of the cartridge picked up is one she has not seen before. She called the others who also came to have a look, and a male person from disaster management was also present at the field and called her to bring the cartridge to him, which she did, and he placed it on a small table that was in the back of his buggy that he was driving, and took various photos of the cartridge and handed it back to her and told her to hand it to her supervisor. The cartridge was then handed to Mfundo Lugwane, who was told to put it in her office. The lamppost the witness is referring to is the lamppost which is on the field, on the grass surface. A photograph of the cartridge was shown to the witness, who testified that it is indeed the cartridge and no other cartridge found that day except for the one picked up and shown to her in court. Exhibit A was shown. The witness indicated that she can identify the spot where she found the cartridge and marked the photograph using an X mark, and testified that the caterer's tent was at the spot where the cartridge was picked up by her. She explained that there were stands there and a tent, as well as a passage that divided the tent room from the podium. At the time she testified that the cleaning tent had been removed and the stand was being removed or dismantled, and the two pillars where the words 5 years were written on or depicted had also already been removed. She further explains that the photograph depicts Sisa Dukashe Stadium, and the first gate on photo number 1 is a small gate which they used to enter, and there are palm trees on the outside of the stadium. Photo 2 depicts the field that faces the grandstand, which is not visible on the photo, and shows the trees towering over the field, and the pole depicted in the photo is the one where she picked up the cartridge, and that there are only 2 lampposts at the stadium, one on the field which she pointed out and where she picked up the cartridge, and the first pole is on the one right at the spot as soon as a person enters the first gate. She testified that photo 5 depicts the corner of the entrance, but total of 8 photos was shown to the witness. Cross-examination by Advocate Hodes on behalf of accused 1. She confirmed that she attended the event on 28 July 2018 and she was also on duty at the said date. She confirmed that she knows how the stage was set up as it was already set up during the course of the week before the event. She further confirmed that the photo shows that the stage had been removed and the floor was the last item that was to be removed. She is unable to estimate distances and testifies that she is illiterate and that the X she marked on the photo album to her is not marked on the tent as depicted, but indicates, according to her, the area at the lamppost where she picked up the cartridge. And she concedes that the X could be where the tent was erected, but the passage was not in front of the stage but in between. She does not know who put it there, and she picked it up as it is a job to do so and clean. There were no cross-examination on behalf of accused 2 by Advocate Hodes, no re-examination by the state. On questions by court, she stated that she was alarmed when she picked up the cartridge because of the size of the cartridge, the color, and the sharp point of the cartridge. There were no questions following the questions by court on the side of the state or the defense to finalize the evidence of the witness. Court will deal with the evidence of Nomfundo Luwane, also an employee at Buffalo City Municipality in the capacity of a supervisor. Her duties include supervising cleaning staff and to instruct them as to where and how to work and to ensure that the instructions are complied with. She arrived at work at 8 a.m. on Monday, 30 July 2018, and on her arrival, she instructed the workers to go and clean the premises where the EFF held a celebratory event, at which the witness, Ms. Mwane, also attended on 28 July 2018, and she had remained present for the duration of the day. And after arrival at 7 a.m., she left at plus minus 6 p.m., checking that all ablution facilities were clean and overall supervision was done. On 30 July 2018, she instructed employees to go to the premises where the event was held to clean, and on going back to check whether the stadium was being cleaned, one of the employees, Umeza, came to her saying she had picked up a cartridge and she told Umeza to go and put it in her office. She only looked at the cartridge in Umeza's hand. Exhibit A1 was shown to the witness, who confirmed that by mere looking at the photograph that it was the same length as the one Umeza had shown her on the day in question. The cartridge was placed in her desk drawer and she received a phone call from South African Police Services asking whether a cartridge had been found. She had placed the cartridge in the drawer of the reception desk then, and when police arrived, she handed the cartridge to the police official, whose name she could not recall, but is able to identify. She further confirmed that one cartridge was given or shown to her on 30 July 2018 at about 13 p.m. I may add that the cartridge was in fact the member of SAPS. The witness is referring to would be the evidence of Captain Swart, which the court will deal with shortly. During cross-examination by Advocate Hodes on behalf of accused 1, the witness stated that it may indeed be any cartridge according to her view, as she saw nothing else peculiar. During cross-examination by Advocate Matthews on behalf of accused 2, the witness confirmed she made a statement to the police on 1 August 2018, the same day that such collected the cartridge. She She denied certain facts contained in her statement. Example, that they were seated when she was shown the cartridge, which the witness denied, stating she was standing and she was shown where the cartridge was picked up next to the stand. In essence, that was the only aspect in cross-examination that was challenged. It follows by the evidence of Jotham Kumalu, employed at Buffalo City Municipality at the Disaster Management Unit in East London. He was also on duty on 28 July 2018 at Sisa Dukasha Stadium in Tanzania, where the EFF event was celebrated. Part of his duties entailed the planning of the meetings pertaining to safety and security meetings, and in general all safety and security aspects. He confirmed that prior to the event, meetings were held at the venue and it was chaired by Colonel Mkwali. He testified that he attended a meeting at the venue 3 days before the event. He also visited the venue the day before the event to ensure all safety and security measures were in place and to ensure that all the structures were in place and ensuring that no emergency exits were blocked, and received a temporary certificate from an engineer. He testified that on the 27th of July 2018, he was satisfied that all was in place and only the structural certificate for the stage was still outstanding, as it was still being constructed at the time. He returned to the venue on 28 July 2018 at about 7 a.m. and was handed the structural certificate, and everything was found to be in order as arranged for the event. He testified that the event went well as all participants had cooperated with one another and because of the discipline displayed by all participants. He recalls that someone was injured at the stadium, but that an ambulance was present according to him, they did not have any real problems at all. Say was injured. He did not refer to being injured as a result of the incident. I accept that someone somewhere may have sustained an injury. During the evening of 28 July 2018 at about 19:30 p.m., the final VOC meeting was held as an opening meeting and then again a specific one for closing of the meeting, and a debriefing session was held. He testified that the music stopped at about 19:30 p.m. and the people started to sing thereafter, and they did not have a problem with that at all. He heard a crackling sound, however, the meeting briefly paused and thereafter it continued and he left and he went home. He described the loud sound as similar to the sound of fireworks. He returned to the venue on 30 July 2018 for a post-event inspection and arrived at about 11 a.m. He was walking along a fence, inspecting the extent of damage to the fence, when a general worker called him and he was shown a cartridge. He confirmed that he took photographs thereof and instructed the general worker to hand it to a supervisor. He confirmed that Exhibit A1 was photographed by him. It depicts the back of the cartridge and the numbers are visible and appears to depict my notes 223, but unable to see the marking clearly. Cross-examination on behalf of accused one by Advocate Hodes. The witness confirmed that he was involved in the pre- and post-assessment and all was in order, including post-event. and only a gate at the emergency exit was slightly bent, and it was the only issue tabled. No record of any shooting was made, and the only sound he heard was the one he had explained regarding the fireworks, and he explained it as fireworks that one sees on New Year's Day, and including the sound thereof, which no report was made about. The arrangements was that the music will stop at 8 o'clock, however it went on a little longer until at 7 o'clock, until before 8 p.m. and he left whilst people were still present, and he did not have any incident to report on. He confirmed that he was handed a cartridge by one of the general workers, which he photographed, but he did not ask the name of the lady who showed him the cartridge. He also did not seal it in an evidence bag, since he did not know if it will be needed later and for what reason. The VOC meeting was held, and the speaker talking stopped until the sound of the fireworks was quiet in the VOC room, and again the meeting continued. The colonel present asked what was that sound, but no one knew, since none of them looked, and that concluded the evidence of the witness. The court will now deal with the evidence of Captain Johannes Captain in the South African Police Services stationed at Mtansane Police Station. He testified that on the date of 1 August 2018, he was a warrant officer attached to the detective branch at Mtansane, and he was also on duty on the 1st of August 2018, and he was told to go to Sisa Dukashe Stadium as a shooting had taken place and a cartridge casing had been picked up. On arrival at the stadium, he was handed a cartridge by the cleaning section supervisor and sealed it in evidence bag with seal number PA 6001796 6106, and he handed the sealed exhibit bag to Colonel Swartboy. He testified that in as far as it is within his knowledge, it was a rifle cartridge, example an R5 or an AK-47, but definitely not a pistol cartridge. The cartridge was handed to him at the stadium by Mr. Wane, and photos were taken of the sealed exhibit bag containing the cartridge in the presence of the witness. The witness was shown Exhibit A, and he confirmed that it was the cartridge that was found and handed to him in the sealed exhibit bag. He also confirmed that the photograph depicting the sealed evidence bag is indeed correct, the correct exhibit according to the serial number reflected. Cross-examination by Advocate Hodes on behalf of accused 1. Confirms he placed the cartridge in the exhibit bag whilst he was still at the Sisa Dukashe Stadium, and recalls that it was done in the presence of the witness. It was placed before the witness that Mr. Wane did not testify regarding that, and he had no comment to that statement made. He did not obtain the statement or affidavit from Mr. Wane. He however states that he sealed the cartridge exhibit bag in front of the lady who had handed him the cartridge. He further confirms that that is the point where the chain evidence started, and that is crucial that the seal number of any exhibit be kept intact at all times, and that there was no chain of custody until it was received by him. The witness also confirms that it is similar size to a 7.62 cartridge, but that it was indeed a rifle cartridge that was handled. During cross-examination by Advocate Matthews, none by Advocate... No, sorry. Let me rephrase the paragraph I've just read out, starting as from. Confirms he placed the cartridge in exhibit bag while he was still at the Sisa Dukashi Stadium and recalled that it was done in the presence of the witness. That is the start of cross-examination by Advocate Odes on behalf of the court. It was placed before the witness that Mr. Wane did not testify regarding that, and the witness had no comment to that statement made to him. He did not obtain the statement by or from Mr. Wane. He however states that he sealed the cartridge exhibit bag in front of the lady who had handed him the cartridge, further confirms that it's the point where the chain evidence started, and that is crucial that the serial number of any exhibit be kept intact at all times, and that there was no chain of custody until he was received by them. The witness also confirms that it is a similar size to a .762 cartridge, but that it was indeed a rifle cartridge that he was handed. That was the cross-examination on behalf of Accused 1. Cross-examination by Advocate Matthews on behalf of Accused 2. He testified the cartridge looked similar. The cartridge that he was shown does look similar, but the one he was handed is a rifle cartridge. That concluded the evidence of Captain Swat. May I just have any indulgence? Proceed to deal with the evidence of the witnesses as far as it pertains to the gear house employees. And I will start with the evidence of Mr. Ashley Singh. The witness testified that on 28 July 2018, he was employed at Gear House Company as the branch manager. His day-to-day responsibilities included all operational and financial elements, including the delivery of technical services that being in the events industry. Therefore, he manages the branch and all operational activities. The company provides technical support to live events industry. Technical elements will include sound, audio-visual, lighting, staging, and power. The company also provides for stage settings, for structures, but not tents. He testified that the company provided the services on 28 July 2018 at the EFF's 5th celebration. However, he did not personally attend the event and was not present in East London. The employees from Gear's company were sent, in total 18, were sent to assist with the event mentioned, and in his view, the relevant persons for this matter will be Sibosisa and Bobo and Samuel Kwata. Those two being part of the 18 employees that were sent. He explained that Mr. Bobo was an audio-visual technician, but on this specific event, he provided the role of the vision mixer. Therefore, he handled the feed of the cameras onto the big screens, and the role of Mr. Kwata was also an audio-visual technician, and the role he also had to play at the event was to play content onto the screens. The employees who attended the event remained in contact with the witness as they had created a WhatsApp group and also communicated telephonically. He testified that the audio-visual equipment, lighting, and what he refers to as rigging and cabling would have been packed up after completion of the show, which would have been late Saturday night, and the structures part would have been packed up by the Monday. None of the employees who dealt with the packing up of the structures contacted him on the Monday according to his recollection. The witness confirmed that he was telephonically contacted by Brigadier Govender on the 8th of August 2018, attached to the Eastern Cape Directorate for Priority Crimes Investigations. He was informed by the SAPS member that he was investigating the matter and that he needed to physically inspect the stage or structure. The witness believes that the police official could well not have understood the term, I quote, stage, since he informed him that the actual stage does not exist anymore. It will have to be physically built or erected, and that the stage did not exist as it was done at the event and would need to be reconstructed fully. He was informed that the official wanted to physically visit the offices and also inspect the equipment used at the event. The police official was under the impression that the stage would have incurred damages as a result of the shooting on site and therefore wanted to look for physical damage or other kinds of evidence. The witness informed the police officer that he was not part of the staging department and therefore the official should contact the head of the structures department. The official agreed and informed the witness that he will send a team of police officials to the office to inspect the stage, which I refer to as the stage. A few days later, a team of police officials arrived who inspected the equipment with an employee from Gearhouse, one Mr. Madlala. However, no damage was observed. Thereafter, the witness with the staging head of department looked through the stage as well as the footage from the event to ensure that none of the roof skins were damaged, as it would compromise the integrity of the structures going forward. He was told by the head of his department that there was a shooting on site and it could have come from there, hence the checking that followed. He then viewed the video, which is referred to, I would believe, as video clip 1 and 2, termed the Gearhouse footage. At this point, the witness was asked to move out from the witness stand and to come closer, and 2 video clips were played in court. On questions pertaining to these footages viewed, the witness testified that he saw from the angle of the stage right camera, I quote, obviously someone firing a firearm, but it was done away from the stage, what we call a skin. So at that stage, I was relatively comfortable that no damage would have happened to the roof itself, quoted verbatim, page 52 of the record. He does not know how many shots were fired or how many times the person he had observed moved to the side of the stage. The witness confirmed that the video he had just viewed in court is the same footage he had perused at their offices of the recording of the event. He received the recording footage from the audio-visual department. He explains that in the scope of their work, they were asked to record the event, and therefore he went through the footage of the event as they were asked to record the event. He requested the footage and testifies that the footage of events as recorded in segments viewed in court, as it depends on the capacity of the memory card, on the camera and of the recording device. So they had about 3 or 4 segments of the total show starting from midday until the event closed. The further reason why the witness decided to view the recorded footage was it was easier to do so than to rebuild the whole structure, because it would be an intensive 3-day exercise. And after watching the footage, he asked that the actual skins of the roof be pulled out to check for damages, and on looking he was satisfied and comfortable that indeed no damage had been occurred. He testified that on the same time he watched the recording, he was not able to identify the person who was firing shots. After viewing of the footage and checking the roof skins of the tent, he informed Brigadier Governor that they had not incurred any damage, and the police official then requested the video recording footage of the event, and that he had wanted to view the recording. A team of police officials was again sent to Gia's company, and the video recording or footage was viewed, and he assumed they would then report back to Brigadier Governor. However, they requested that the footage be handed to them immediately, and the witness informed them that he would need to contact his legal department for advice, which he had done, and was advised by the legal department that the law enforcement officials will need to provide the relevant documentation in terms of Section 205 of Act 51 of 1977 to obtain a copy of the footage. After a few days, the law enforcement members returned and handed the relevant documentation, including that of the Section 205 subpoena, to the witness for the law enforcement members to look at the footage and to be given a copy. He was present when this was done, and when the footage was downloaded by Mr. Quata, and after the footage was downloaded, the footage was sealed by the police officials in the presence of the witness. He also confirms that Mr. Quata downloaded the footage from the laptop that they had used at the show. He confirmed that while the footage was in their or his possession, it had not been tampered with in any manner. He is able to say so with confidence, as the footage was locked in the company safe on the premises, and he was the only person with access to it and only opened it again when the lady from the forensic unit came to the offices. The witness also continues to say he is able to confirm that the footage that was handed to the enforcement officials and which was sealed in his presence is indeed the recorded footage, and that it is indeed a part of the footage that was handed to the police. He explained it was a part, meaning that they had handed the police a comprehensive recording of the event, and that is obvious that was what had been viewed in segments or part of segments of the event itself, as testified to by the witness. This is quoted verbatim. Cross-examination by Advocate Odes on behalf of accused 1. The witness again confirmed that he was not present at the said event in question. The first time he heard about the matter is when he was approached by Brigadier Governor during a telephonic call. Further, that he was informed that the intention of the law enforcement members was to inspect the actual staves and the roof covers, since if it had been damaged, it would impact on the integrity of the covers for future events. The witness made it clear that after he was told by Advocate Odes that he had inspected the covers very thoroughly, that he had not done so, his staff had done so, but he was satisfied that no damage had been reported, and if there had been, they would have reported the same. Was put to what time the event started. Verbatim, page 62 of the record, and he replied he has a rough estimate of the time being around midday and ended after 2300 hours being 11 p.m. It was then put to the witness that it is a fact that according to the one of his employees, who the court will still deal with, one Mr. Ngobo, the event started before midday, to which the witness replied it may very well be true, and further placed before the witness that, I quote, not having been there, he has no personal knowledge of the events, and he had agreed with Advocate Hodis that he was relying on information passed via communication channels. The witness confirmed that the entire event was recorded from beginning to end, and on being asked as to who extracted snippets from the recording, the witness replied he would assume that it was the law enforcement officials. He was then told in clear terms by Advocate Hodis that he is not entitled to assume and to not interrupt him whilst he is still speaking to the witness. Therefore, that issue was not pursued, and it was followed by the following statement made to the witness, page 63 of the record. I quote, you were called to explain to this court the procedure followed in the extraction of the footage because you were there. Who made the decision, sir? The witness replied by saying, I do not believe any decision was made to extract the segment. I believe we downloaded the entire footage, unless I am understanding your question incorrectly. After several questions, the witness confirmed the following, that indeed the entire recording, as per the evidence and statements placed before him, would amount to around 12 to 13 hours of recorded footage, and confirmed that he does not know who extracted the snippets from the footage that he viewed in court. And confirmed that what he had viewed, the footage what he had viewed in court was a segment of which he had handed over to the Hawks. Confirmed it as such. The defense stated on record that it is indeed so that it is not possible to view 12 to 13 hours of footage in court, and the witness agreed to that statement and that he played no part in the extraction of the footage viewed in court. The witness was told that when the members of the Hawks came to your office on the first occasion and requested the footage, they did not have a Section 205 subpoena with them, which the witness confirmed. The witness testified that on hearing the request by the Hawks, he decided to obtain legal advice and was informed that the procedure was indeed to be followed as to obtain a Section 205 subpoena, which had to be obtained by the law enforcement officials. The witness testified that he was not shocked on hearing the request. He was, however, surprised as he is not clued up on the legal process, and as he was unaware of what to do, he sought legal advice for that reason. Cross-examination on accused one continued. It was then put to the witness that with regards to the law enforcement officials, I quote, prior to that, none of them had mentioned to you what procedure ought to be followed. Is that correct? The witness replied that he does not recollect. The issue was pursued and the witness was informed that it is clear he had testified that he was requested to hand over the footage of the event to the Hawks, and he had opted to obtain legal advice. Therefore, it is clear that it was not explained to him, which the witness then agreed to. In closing, the witness confirmed that he is not able to identify the person in the footage who was referred to by the defense as the shooter. Cross-examination by Advocate Holders on behalf of accused 1. The witness confirmed that he testified that Mr. Quatta downloaded the footage from a laptop onto a hard drive, which was handed over to the Hawks. The said laptop had subsequently been stolen. That comparison to the original at this stage is not possible. It was further pursued and placed before the witness that if I, as the defense, I quote, on behalf of my client, would want to verify that what we are watching is the correct video, it is not possible. Correct? The witness replied to, you would say that it is correct, however, the last time would have been original when it was handed over, unquote, verbatim, page 70 of the report. He confirmed the evidence of Mr. Ngobo placed before him, that Mr. Ngobo was called to a meeting with the Hawks at their premises. The witness clearly answered that there were a few meetings. Initially, where initially all of their statements were obtained and they were kept separate and treated separately whilst their statements were obtained. The witness cannot comment on the statement placed before him that Mr. Ngobo testified that he was shown the first clip and not the second clip by the Hawks, as he was not present when it was done. And as to why he was not present, he explained he may have been busy with work, attending an event, and there had been a few meetings with Hawks. It was put to the witness that the defense is concerned about the fact that the laptop in question had been stolen, and the witness explained that he is able to draw a diagram and explain to the defense about the concern raised. But per the record, page 71, the defense, being Advocate Matthews, informed him, no, I just want to know how did the laptop go missing. Page 71, the witness replies to say, oh, it's quite common, it's quite a common thing in our industry. It is a high commodity item, so it moves from job to job, and people obviously nick it because it is easy to conceal and put under the jacket and walk out with. He confirmed that he was not told to preserve the laptop, but he was told to preserve the hard drive, which he had done. He testified that he believes the theft of the laptop would have been reported to SAPS, as it is standard procedure for their company to do so, and that he would believe that it was done as they would require a police CAS number for insurance purposes. There was no re-examination by court, by the state, and questions by court. The witness informed the court that the stolen laptop was the property of Gearhouse Company, and by checking the serial number, is able to say that the footage downloaded or recorded by Mr. Ngobo onto a hard drive is the laptop that was subsequently stolen. He had corrected the court by saying that it was downloaded by Mr. Quatta and not by Mr. Ngobo, as stated to him by court, and he had corrected the court quite correctly so. The witness also informed the court that the hard drive had not been stolen and that the initial download of the footage is still in the possession of Gearhouse Company, being, I quote, the hard drive was not stolen, so there is still a hard drive, the initial one, the initial downloaded one. It is in their possession, page 74 of the report. The witness informed the court that in all honesty, he would have rather not be in court for this matter, and explained that one might construe it to be awkward for me, and that the witness further informed the court that this incident was the first time for him to engage with any law enforcement officials, and the procedures to be followed on handing over of video footage to law enforcement officials. He also explained that one of the reasons or motivation for seeking legal assistance or advice was, firstly, before handing over the footage, was that it would be detrimental for the business having that equipment impounded or whatever else, unquote. And secondly, as it involves a client, an employee must make sure that they are not infringing on anyone's rights or doing anything wrong, and confirmed he had done so to testify himself that he had complied with what was required of him to do, as he does not have absolute power in his capacity as branch manager and did not want to overstep his limits. That concluded the evidence of Mr. Singh. Was followed by the evidence of Sibusiso Ngoba. Testified he was employed at Gia's company, 28 July 2018, based in the KZN province, and employed as an audio and visual technician. He explained that Gia's company deals with live events, and the company provides stage structures, sound and audio visual equipment for events. He stated that his qualifications are that of a qualified audio-visual technician, and at the time of his evidence, he had 7 years' experience in this field. The witness confirmed that he was contracted to come to East London for work purposes for the event held on 28 July 2018, and he was contracted to come and do everything pertaining to audio-visual. That is quoted verbatim, page 14 of the record, meaning from setup of the equipment, operating of the equipment, including the recording of the content that was taken on that day, unquote, page 14. He further explained that during the event, they had 2 cameras. One camera was on the stage right, which means when you are at the stage facing the crowd, or on the stage facing the crowd, it is on your left. It is called stage right in their terminology. And then another camera was at the, what they call front of house. Front of house is the tower that is built opposite the stage, about 35 meters away from the stage. It is called front house. It is where all the engineers who are operating the show are seated, so they are able to have a clear picture of what is happening on the stage. For that reason, one camera was placed there. We also set up a vision mixer called the HS400, which he uses to mix the cameras, and he was using the set equipment on the set day. On further explanation, the witness testified that a vision mixer means it is when, I quote, take the feed from the cameras, it is used to mix cameras. So those 2 cameras are installed in my vision mixer, and I'm able to see them in my monitor screen, and I'm able to switch in between using the vision mixer. He also added what he refers to as a capital ATEM studio that was used to record that feed from the vision mixer. Here also had an ATM studio that was used to record the feed from which means whatever he is busy mixing on the vision mixer will go through the ATEM studio that he was using to record, and it was being recorded using the said ATEM studio, and he was also responsible to give the feed to the big screens that were on the venue, so the crowd would also be able to see the content. They started to set up the equipment at about 8 a.m. on 28 July 2018 at the Sisa Dukasha Stadium in Tanzania. His task was to ensure that he gets the correct feed from the cameras, and he will communicate with his camera operators using, which I will refer to as comms, COMMS, and explain as an example. You would tell them that camera 1, please stand by. He will be going live, or camera 1 will be live. And then just like that, I quote, camera live would go live. And that is so because there's a great working relationship between him and the camera operators. He confirmed that he was personally involved in setting up of the equipment, and he set up all the equipment on site with the help of the other technicians. The witness explained that the reason why he tells calls camera 1, or he tells camera 1 that he's coming to camera 2 or 1 or 2, etc., is to ensure that the camera can move when he calls them live on screen, so to ensure they are ready to log on to a shot that you will now be able to move the camera once he's live. The technician will understand that he is now live. During the event, his focus remains on the monitor in front of him, and he can mostly observe what is on the screen most of the time. He does not have a vision of the stage as it is about 35 meters away. Therefore, his focus is on the monitor in front of him with the cameras on. He was also present for the duration of the event and was recording the event. He also confirms that he saw Mr. Malema, accused 1, at the event, since he was the main speaker at the event, and that he had recorded everything that had happened at that event. He further testified that he does not know accused number 2, Mr. Snowman. However, he saw him at the event on the day in question. He, however, does not record exactly where he saw accused number 2, as he was busy recording the event. He continues to say that all he can recall about the incident is that there were a lot of singing and dancing, and he did not see any shooting incident on 28 July 2018 at the event. He explains that when he's mixing, he uses comms, and it covers both his ears, so it blocks any banging sounds from the front. Therefore, he cannot comment on whether he heard the firework display on the day of the incident. He also did not observe the firework display that evening. The event ended, according to him, at about between 10 to 11 p.m. and he was also asked to record what is called the after party. The state asked the witness what happened once he had recorded whatever he needed to record, and what happens to the footage, or happened to the footage he recorded. The witness explained that once he finishes with the recording, he will then check that the recording was done. He then also double checks that the recording is there on his laptop and thereafter on the hard drive which he was using to record on, and then he will browse through the recording to check if there is audio and that there are no glitches. Then he will submit the hard drive with the content of the recording to the project's manager from Gearhouse Company, who will be on site and confirms he did so on the particular evening. In fact, he testified to say he did so as it is procedure. As to how he became involved in this matter, the witness testified and explained that a few days after the event, officials from either NPA or the Hawks arrived at the office of Gearhouse in KZN, and he was asked to join them because they requested a meeting with those persons who were working at the particular event. And that is where his involvement started in this matter. And also how he came to be a witness in the case. He also confirmed that the purpose for the visit from the Hawks was, according to the witness, that they firstly wanted to make sure that he was indeed the person who was doing the recording first, and they asked questions about the video and if it is original or what was the process that took place. The project manager at this time was one Lifa, and he was from the Gauteng Gearhouse offices. The witness stated that whilst the video footage was in his possession, he had not tampered with the said footage, and in his view, there was no tampering with the footage whilst in his possession. At this point, the footage was played in court, including a video clip, including a second video clip that was shown to the witness. The witness testified that he indeed recognizes the footage as it is or was the footage from the two cameras that he was mixing from on that day. He continued to state that it was two cameras, as it shows it was taken from two camera angles that he used to mix on that specific day. He confirmed that he has viewed the first video footage before whilst the Hawks were present, but he has not seen the second clip before court, before today, that day before. He explained that the Hawks informed him that they were going to use their video footage as evidence, and they asked him to view and observe the footage, after which they asked him if he had observed whatever happened in the first video. It is how he became aware or viewed the first video clip. The witness confirmed that the video footage he viewed in the presence of the Hawks was indeed the footage recorded by Gearhouse and which was provided by Gearhouse to the Hawks, and that it is what he has seen in court whilst viewing video clip 1 in court as the same that was provided, and more precisely, it is part of the footage provided by Gearhouse to the Hawks, which he viewed and confirmed to be the footage provided by Gearhouse to the Hawks, as he viewed it with the Hawks and in court. He was not informed by the police or a colleague about any shooting incident, or that police will visit their office before the time. He only became aware when the Hawks arrived at their offices in KZN. The third video clip was played and viewed by the witness in court, and he testified that their company did not have a camera from behind the stage, and that it was not recorded by their company. And on being asked by the state what the difference was between the three sets of footage viewed by the witness, he replied that he did not know where the third recording came from. There are only the video footage pertaining to the first and second video footage played in court. He can confirm that it was recorded by him, as it is from the cameras that he used to set up from the stage right and from the front house. So as he confirms that he is personally aware and has personal knowledge about the first and second video footage viewed, and the court quotes verbatim, I quote, "But on the first two, 1 and 2, it is from the cameras that I set up from stage right and from the front of house. So I know them personally," unquote. Page 23 of the record. The witness confirmed that the setup of the stage as depicted in the video clips of the footage is exactly the same as reflected in the first and second video clip, and which was recorded by him. Cross-examination by Advocate Holders on behalf of accused 1. He testified that the two cameramen on the day in question was on the stage right, Sanele and Lobu, and the camera at the front of the house was one Mundumise, surname he cannot recall, as they are no longer employed at the house, and he does not know their whereabouts. It was then put to the witness, and the court will quote as follows: "So basically, you admit to this court that you did not operate those cameras, and those respective people, Sanele and Ndubisa, operated the cameras on the night in question?" And the witness then replied and stated that that is correct, and conceded that he had not controlled the cameras. He agreed that he did not watch what was happening on the stage most of the time, and the court may add that it was also put to the witness that is how his evidence is understood by the defense to appear, which he had considered to, and not which he had testified to. He confirmed that he was approached and requested to depose of a statement. It was put to the witness that he had made it clear in his statement that he was not the cameraman responsible for the filming of this incident, to which the witness answered correct. It was further placed or put to the witness by Advocate Holders, I quote, "And once you were shown the video footage at a subsequent stage of your own report, you said you were not certain whether it was a real or toy firearm." On this aspect, the court must comment that statement is not part of the record presented or testified to by this witness. He was then asked, "Do you confirm that, sir? Is that correct?" And he replied, "Correct." It was then stated that you went further, sir, and you said that having only watched this on a monitoring screen, you were incapable of deciding or determining whether it was in fact a toy or a real firearm. Is that correct? Page 27. Again, the court needs to highlight that that statement was not emanating from the evidence of this witness. It was merely put as facts, but not as a statement emanating from his evidence. It was further placed before the witness that the instructions from accused 1 is that the firearms that you saw there on screen were screen or TV firearms that are incapable of firing projectiles, and which the witness asked Advocate Holders to please repeat the statement placed before him, which was then repeated and placed before the witness, and the witness replied by stating clearly that he had no comment, "I do not know," unquote, verbatim. Further, quoted, "If I were to show you these items that were utilized for similar items, we refer to them in legal terms as facsimiles, copies, for the actual items that were utilized that night. Would you be able to identify them from what you saw that night?" The witness replied that, "I do not know," to which the defense answered, "I beg your pardon?" This caused the witness to pause and ask, Sorry, will you please repeat which items are we talking about?" It was not repeated, and cross-examination continued in the following fashion. It was put to the witness as follows: "If I brought to court those screen or TV firearms that cannot eject a missile," should be a projectile, "nothing comes out of them, would you be able to identify them or not?" The witness replied, "No, I will not," followed by the question of the defense, "Why?" The witness explained that he was not focusing on them. "I do not even know how they look like, even the color or anything. Up until today, I do not know." It was then placed to the witness by Advocate Julius that, surprisingly, it is depicted, I would assume on the footage viewed, nobody ran or was afraid that they might be shot from what you have seen. And the witness had replied he had no comment. The response was not accepted by Advocate Julius, and it was put to the witness, no, you cannot, with respect, sir, say you did not observe the people's reaction. You have watched the video. The court has watched the reaction. I put it to you that nobody ran away from these firearms or expressed any fear whatsoever. Do you have any comment? The witness replied by saying he was just flighting the image, that being the content on screen, so he was not even looking at the reaction of the people, because even when the Hawks came to show him the video, he was still not looking at the reaction of the people. So that is why he says he cannot comment. His interest was not on that when he was looking at the video. I need to, and it will become apparent later, the issue was further pursued with the witness after he had replied to the statement made by Advocate Julius, that it was still not accepted by the defense, and Advocate Julius to continue to put the following to the witness. I quote, "You watched it in court, you have watched it before. I put it to you, in other words, I challenge you, that nobody runs away at the time of the so-called firing of these items. Do you have any comment?" At this point now the witness answers by saying, I quote, "I did not see anyone run." A remark was made by the defense then, "Yes, it is obvious we all watched it." Questions then returned to the video footage, and the witness agreed that the footage does not reflect a gear house logo, and that the clips viewed in court appears to be extracts of the event of that night, and that the event began at plus minus 9 a.m. that morning, that there was a main spokesperson, all which is not shown on the video footage viewed in court. The witness confirms this statement, and that what is being viewed is a snippet of the events, and that the snippets does not reflect the time of the day, and only the duration of the snippets are reflected, which the witness confirmed as correct. The witness confirmed further during cross-examination that he does not know who filmed the footage depicted in the video? It was then put to the witness as follows. Put differently, sir, it is apparent from your testimony that even on the night in question, you were unaware that any firing of any type of toy gun or real gun had taken place that night. Do you agree? The witness replied that that was indeed correct. I should highlight at this point that the witness's evidence in chief was that he in fact saw nothing, but this is not the appropriate time to deal with these facts. The statement continued that was placed to the witness, I quote, and that was so even though you, on your own version, monitored the screens of the footage being videoed by the two cameras belonging to Gia's. And do you agree? The witness confirmed. I would only say the following. I assume that the line of cross-examination here is pertaining to the actual video footage that was viewed at the time in court. And the statement continued that it is not as if you were watching the filming of something and you saw, for example, a terrorist attack or somebody being shot or shot at, that you would react and panic. And the witness agreed to that statement. Further, put to the witness, you went there, you controlled the monitors, and at the end of the night, you were satisfied that nothing untoward, improper, or irregular had happened, which was confirmed by the witness. For all intents and purposes, then, sir, it was a perfect celebration, a birthday bash, and everything had run very smoothly, which the witness also agreed to. Whether this amounts to the defense relying on the contents of the videos depicted in court will be discussed at the appropriate time when dealing with the issue regarding footage. The witness continued to say that the above statement placed to him by Advocate Odes, the summary is also applicable in respect of the second video that was viewed. It was in relation to both items of footage that let me rephrase, it was put to the witness that in relation to both items of footage that you had not known of anything untoward. Do you agree? And he confirmed. And I put it to you, and as I put it to you earlier, and I know that I am repeating myself, but it flows from the sequence of the questioning now. Nobody appears startled or scared in any of the video footage that was captured by Gia. Top page 34. Quoted. Do you agree? The witness asked, sorry, please repeat. The statement was repeated, the reply being yeah, comma, I did not notice him. Correct. Then the following statement was placed to the witness, which the court will deal with later. It would appear that that is why you drew the conclusion that there was not a real firearm being shot on the stage with all the people there. Do you agree? And the witness again asked, can you please repeat? I do not get it. It was again repeated, but worded as follows. If somebody on the stage shooting live rounds there would be a risk, do you agree with me? The witness answered correct, meaning had there been live rounds fired, he confirms that that would result in a risk. I quote from page 35 and will try to expedite and read faster. Page 35 quote, so the indication is that a toy firearm and not a real firearm was used. Do you agree? The statement was not answered at that point as the state indicated that proceedings were too fast and it must be slower, and it was then with thanks repeated by advocate holders and phrased in the following manner. I will draw a conclusion for you and let you comment. It is therefore apparent from the reaction, from what we see on the video, that it is most probable that the toy firearm was used in both instances. Do you agree with me? The question. That it is by advocate leave the witness box. Do you have any comment? The witness now replies. After obtaining instructions from his client, after obtaining instructions from his client, after obtaining instructions from his client, It Matthews asked the witness whether he's saying that the NPA, or the Hawks were taking clips, and the witness asked him to repeat this question. The question was indeed repeated, and the witness answered by saying, yes, this is from, it is a clip from the video recording. Lastly, it was put to the witness that one cannot see accused 2 on either of the clips, and the witness confirmed it as correct. Re-examination by Advocate Caesar. The witness was asked regarding his answer during cross-examination on behalf of accused 1, and that he testified he had lost control of the video after it was set up, and the witness replied by saying he had understood the question to be that he was the one operating the camera, and to that he had replied no, not that he had lost control of the video, as he was not operating the camera. With regards to the footage and questions pertaining to people running, the witness testifies on being asked if in the direction the shots were fired to, or where the person stood where shots were fired, whether there were people standing there. The witness replied, this paragraph, that's page 40 of the record, were there people standing there on the field? The witness replied that yes, indeed, there were people standing on the field, and that the people were standing in the front of the stage. End of questions by court. The court requested the witness to watch the third clip that was played in court. He had confirmed that he is familiar with accused 1, but no one else caught his attention. That was the extent of the questions posed by court. No questions by court on behalf by Advocate Caesar or Advocate Odes. Advocate Matthew that at this point stated the following based on the court's questions. Advocate Matthews repeated the evidence of the witness, which he confirmed that the third video clip was not taken by his company, and he cannot even say if it was taken on a specific day or not. I think based on the evidence of this witness, it is clear that it was not, and it is so viewed. I'm sorry, I see we are at 20 past 11. I'm going as fast as humanly possible, but I need to at least give some people a 10-minute water break, comfort break, the people who are standing, and then I will return at 11:30. In order. seated. I'm just waiting for everyone to enter, and then once they're seated I can continue straight away. It's just difficult to do so when there's... Okay, put a ruler in so I know where I stopped. I'm just going to move this microphone. Is it fine, this microphone, if I just move it a little back for working space? Otherwise my file is not fitting on the bed. Right. On resumption then, judgment continues after the 10-minute adjournment. The court will then proceed and deal with the evidence of Samuel Kwata. Testified he was also employed at Gear's company situated in Durban. On 28 July 2018, he was a senior audiovisual technician. He started working for the company during the year 2007 or prior. He cannot recall the exact year. He confirmed that on 28 July 2018 he was part of the contracted persons to come to East London for work-related matters pertaining to the EFF's 5th birthday anniversary celebrations. His duties were on the said date entailed supervising the technicians and looking after the equipment. The looking after equipment part is a verbatim quote. Since he was a senior technician, he was also one of the persons who installed the video recording cameras. He testified that originally they were to install 3 cameras, but only used 2 cameras as there was already a cameraman on the left-hand side of the stage. So they only used 1 camera for the right upstage or the upstage right of the stage and the front of house, which he explains is next to where their control facility is. Further, that the cameras were about, according to him, 40 to 45 meters, being the one on the left hand and the one in front of house. Just a light, just a little bit. Just a little. Thank you. Sorry. It blinds me when I look up. Now it will go faster. Further, that the cameras... Okay, I stated that. The witness explained that on the said date, as is the norm, they normally conduct formalities at these rallies, being prayers and then the speeches, and also followed by entertainment. Stated that he knows accused number 1 from seeing him on the television, and on questions by the state confirmed that he also saw accused number 2 on the day in question. Accused number 1 on the day in question, as he he was the person who delivered the speech during the day. The time he cannot recall. He testifies that he did not see accused 2 on the day in question. The duties he performed at the celebration was to take care of the graphics for the back screen on the stage during the proceedings. He testified that he heard there is witnesses regarding the shooting that happened on the day in question. On being asked by the state whether he saw any shooting on the said date, he replied that he heard about it the next day as they were clearing up and packing up their equipment. He continued to say that they were shown on a phone by a guy that worked with them but who was not present at the time, who showed them the clip on his phone and described what he saw was singing and dancing and then the gunshots, page 7 of this record. He did not see who was shooting as the video clip did not show who was shooting. He, however, did not hear anything at Sisa Dukashi Stadium on that day or night that sounds like gunshots. Back at their offices in Durban, Sabs visited the office and he was called and told to take the footage from the machine or to make the footage from the machine, to take the footage from the machine they were using and to put it on their hard drive. He explained that the machine he is referring to is the machine they used on the data of the celebration called a television studio. It is a converter and it records onto a laptop, and after a show or event, they take the footage, being the recording, and load it onto a hard drive, which may also be given to the client or customer. He only recalls one of the specific officials that visited their offices being Brigadier Govender. He testified that as soon as the event ends, they remove the footage and places it on a hard drive, which is supplied by the company or at times by the client. With regards to this specific event, he recalls that the recording was done and handed to the project manager. He testified that he personally did not tamper with any recording or footage in any manner. Video clips were played that the witness viewed in court and confirmed that the special effects as it appears on the screen are indeed the specific special effects done by himself at the event. He also confirmed that on the date of the incident, the video footage correctly depicts the setup of the stage. However, he does not constantly observe what is happening on stage as he uses software to play graphics and only uses his eyes to do so, and confirmed that he looks directly at the stage with his own eyes, but however did not see any shooting on the stage at all. He confirms that indeed he saw the dancing and the singing of struggle songs on stage during the event, and it is what he viewed now in court. He also confirmed that the footage indeed what was taken or recorded on the day in question, and that he had downloaded the footage and handed it to Brigadier Govender and his team. The third video clip was also shown to the witness. Let me find it again. And he testified that he has not seen the said footage. It begs the question then as to what was shown to him on a cell phone by a colleague. He also testified he had not seen the third video clip before, and it was the same video. I apologize. and it was indeed... No, let me rephrase and try again. It's blind, it's difficult with the glare on the pages. Okay. The third video clip was also shown to the witness, who testified he has not seen the said footage before, and it was not the same video that he was shown by his colleague. The witness confirmed that he was present at the time that the firework display took place. That was his evidence in chief. During cross-examination by Advocate Houders on behalf of Accused 1, the witness confirms that he was not the cameraman who recorded the footage on the day in question. It was done by their interns, whose names he cannot recall, and they swap around as it is a tiring job, and he is unable to say who captured the footage. He continued to state that the laptop that was used by Gearhouse on the day of the event in question was later, after an event, when they were checking their equipment at the office. They noticed that one of the laptops are missing, and on checking the serial numbers, they found that it is the laptop that they used to record the EFF's 5th birthday celebration, and that it is missing. And on reporting it to their project manager, Mr. Julian Chetty, they went to the ICC in Durban and was told to report the matter to the police if they want to view the footage as to who and how the laptop was misplaced. In essence, the defense confirmed that the witness personally opened a police docket reporting that the particular laptop was stolen, and it was the same laptop used at the celebrations, which was established by using the serial number of the said laptop. The witness also confirms that he was not made aware of any shooting during the incident or event. Further, that he cannot identify who was shooting in the video clips viewed in court and played by the state. He also did not hear any gunshot sounds during the event. He is also not aware of any damaged equipment after the event or any reports of any injury sustained during the event. With regards to the placing of the cameras, the witness explains that the camera right in front of the stage would be the camera that will be on right-hand side of the stage, and therefore they recorded on the right-hand side of the stage. He was not involved in the processes involving the provision of the footage to subs, and testified he was just called and told to provide the gentleman with the footage, and he did not speak to him or them. Thereafter, the laptop was then taken by Mr. Singh and placed it where the other hard drives were placed. He is, however, not sure, as he left after the download and sorted out the information and the hard drive devices, which subsequently was stolen. During the event, he confirms he did not focus on the stage as he was ensuring that the graphic side of the event went well. The only sound that he heard was when the fireworks went off, which he saw. As their stage is a dome, so the fireworks were placed, I quote his words, away from it, and apparently, or created the appearance that it was coming up on top of the stage. And he used the phrase, the sky. Thereafter, it was difficult to identify the footage because it was cut due to the long version of the footage, but does not know by whom it was by whom it was cut. The third video, the witness confirmed that he does not know where it comes from or who created it. There was no cross-examination on behalf of Accused 2 by Advocate Matthews, and by court, he testified that he saw the dancing and the singing of the struggle songs, but did not watch for a long time, but it was entertainment and therefore he watched at times. Also that there was a lot of activity on the stage. Some people would leave and some would step out of the stage. Questions pursued regarding the footage, which ended up, and I will add, to the defense having instructions to apply for the recusal of myself as the presiding officer in this matter. I'm not going to deal with the application. It was dealt then. The record reflects the reasons for the application not granted is on record. But I need to mention that this is the spot where it took place. That had then, in essence, concluded his evidence, and the court will now proceed with dealing with the evidence of the police officers in this matter. Firstly, that being the evidence of Colonel Nyandlama Mkwali, let me continue. On 28 July 2018, the witness was a member of South African Police Services attached to Mtansane Visible Police Unit. At the time of the incident, he was the head of the section, but has since retired in 2020. On 4 July 2018, he was appointed as an authorized member of the committee regarding the upcoming EFF 5th year celebrations. His duties entailed calling of a security meeting and all stakeholders, including disaster management. I can't see. I'm sorry. Maybe if you can just, yes, it creates a glare on the page. I'm sorry, and then I'm unable to read. Thank you. It's fine now, I hope. Yeah, it's better. All right, let me continue from the meeting included also mostly from Buffalo City Municipality, members from the Bomb Squad, Public Order Policing, Visible Policing, and members of the Detective Unit, including the representatives from the EFF, at that time led by Mr. Techana, at the meeting, and on the 28th of July 2018 led by Mr. Dlamini. And the purposes of the security meeting was to ensure an incident-free event. The first meeting, all the role players had provided their input. The second meeting was to establish the readiness of all. And the third meeting for all to confirm their state of readiness. He was informed by the stadium manager that no more than 10,000 people will attend. It was also decided that attendees will not be allowed to carry any firearms, sharp weapons, or even bottles. This excluded the protectors of the EFF leadership. The meetings were all conducted at the Sisa Dukashi Stadium, and prior to the event, all was checked and the premises was declared safe. This check was done the morning of the 28th of July 2018, and the witness was present at the time the premises was declared safe. Visible Policing Unit checked the grounds. There were no reports of any firearms or cartridges after the 7 a.m. check on the morning of 28 July 2018. Sorry for this, it's the only way I'm going to. All right, I've dealt with. The EFF security was already present when they arrived at plus minus 6:30 a.m. on the said morning. Later, when vendors started to enter, they were all checked by the bomb squad unit, and it was established that no vendor was in possession of any item that may pose a danger for society. The vendors were searched by members of visible policing and including searched by the EFF security members. After they had set up their goods, the gates were opened for the public to start to enter. They had not encountered any problems. Everyone was very disciplined and all role players, including the EFF, were fully cooperating. The president of the EFF delivered a speech for about 1 hour and then thereafter the artists performed again. At about 6 p.m., fireworks display started behind the podium, and at about 19:30 p.m., he sent members to the podium to ask the EFF security and to inform them that it is getting late and the gates must be closed by 8 p.m., since there was still a group of people around the podium as artists were still performing. They cooperated and a meeting was called, the debriefing meeting, which was conducted at about 20:05 p.m. He had again informed EFF security that the event must now stop as there were still people around the podium and that the lights of the stage will be switched off due to time. No misunderstandings occurred and people were allowed time to leave. He testified that he was the complainant on behalf of the state in this matter. The purpose of opening a docket was to ensure that the incident that occurred was investigated, or I should say the alleged incident that occurred was investigated. He was called by Brigadier Nkoro, Nkoro, on 1 August 2018, who showed them, or the witness, a clip which had gone viral on social media. He testified that on the said clip he saw a white male giving a firearm to Mr. Malema, and when he was in possession of that firearm, he had started to shoot. The shooting was done by Mr. Malema. The court is quoting verbatim from the viva voce evidence of the witness. In order for a proper investigation to follow, a docket had to be opened, and since they only heard the fireworks on the evening in question, a docket was then opened and registered at Mtansane police station. The docket was handed to Detective Unit and Colonel Swartboy was assigned as the investigating officer of the matter. He confirmed that he communicated with Colonel Swartboy, informing him that an empty cartridge had been picked up at the stadium and that it was the only time he communicated with Colonel Swartboy. The photographs depicting the stage and setup at the stadium was shown to the witness by the state, and he had confirmed that it is indeed a true reflection of the event and the structures and the setup. He testified that the VOC, which is VOC referring to the Venue Operational Center, was a Wendy house that they used and was about 100 to 150 meters away from the podium. He testified that VOC was situated at the west side of the podium, straight opposite the podium. The clip shows the right-hand side of the podium, and in front of the podium it shows people, and on the podium it shows people were not in front of the male but to the left side. The stadium was closed at 9 p.m. and confirms that Mr. Malema arrived, but he does not recall what time, as the security will only notify them if there was a problem on arrival, and none was reported to him. So he knew that it went calmly and peacefully. He saw accused one for the first time when he delivered his speech, and it was about 1 hour, and estimates the time to be plus minus 14 hours, and he was standing in front of the VOC outside. Discussions took place with the EFF security team, and after the second meeting it was decided that the EFF security will regulate and decide as to whom will be responsible for people on and off the stage at any given time. Further, that they were not informed at any of the security meetings that there would be security personnel on stage, and he did not observe any of the close protectors. And it is also standard procedure that if a member of SAPS should see a firearm on any person's waist, he or she must inform VOC immediately. He was not informed about any shooting incident during the event, and also not at the time of the closing meeting, and did not panic when he heard the fireworks, as he was aware before the time, as this was discussed at the security meeting. With regards to the video clip he viewed, he is unable to say how many shots were fired, but it was a rifle. He also confirmed that the fencing around the podium was damaged, since the speaker and the political songs that were being sung caused the people to move closer and excited the crowd. Cross-examination by Advocate Odes confirms that he was in charge of SAPS on the day of the event and that all major incidents will be reported to him. He also confirms that in his meaning Mr. Dlamini would comply. He confirms he did not see accused one shoot a firearm at the event, and no reports were received the Saturday night of the evening of the event. He was told that a cartridge had been picked up at the stadium and does not know where it came from. Further, he does not know who filmed the video footage that he viewed, and that to him it appeared to be a real firearm that was used and not a toy gun. Minutes of the meeting that were held was kept and is available if it is needed by the defense. It was, however, not required. He confirms that where he confirmed where it was held and that it is available if needed by the defense. He confirms that the photographs depicts two fences as shown from the left of the camera, but in front of. He was also not shown or informed of any equipment that was damaged during the incident caused by a firearm or any other form of damage. The witness testified that he is able to differentiate between the sound of fireworks and the sound of a firearm fired, but not if the shots are fired at the same time as the fireworks. Then he will not be able to differentiate. It was put to the witness that accused one will deny shooting any real firearm, to which the witness replied that the investigation will show, and if he had not done so, he will not have been in court for this matter. Cross-examination by Advocate Matthews on behalf of accused one. He states that VIP protectors were not present, only visible policing, and he was not aware that 5 protection unit members were present, and if so, he had not received any reports about shots that have been fired. By court, he mentioned that no damages was reported to him, and by question, based on the court's question, the state asked the witness that if such damage incurred, would it have been, what was the procedure, and he testified that if any damages were suffered, it would not be reported to SAPS. As a rule, since it is not their property and therefore there will be no need for such a report to be made to him. Brings us to the evidence of Captain, which I will refer to, Mali Govender, a member of South African Police Services and attached to the Provincial Communication Head Office Eastern Cape as a communication officer as at 31 July 2018 and has subsequently retired during 2021. She testified she was stationed at the Provincial Head Office Communication Office in the Eastern Cape in Bisho as a communication officer. And explained that she received communication from their national head office since she formed part of a national WhatsApp group which included national head office and communicators from all the various provinces. On the specific date, she received a video clipping and a message attached requesting communicators to inquire as to which province the particular incident depicted in the video clip that occurred. If memory serves her well, it read as follows, I quote, "Colleagues, please check if anyone is aware of an incident that has happened in your province," unquote, and all communicators in the other provinces responded negatively, and there was an indication that the incident that there was celebrations that took place in the Eastern Cape. The communicators in the Eastern Cape confirmed that celebrations took place at Mtansane, referring to political celebrations at Sisa Dukashe Stadium in Mtansane. Thereafter, she contacted her colleague who works at the Mtansane area and electronically forwarded the video clipping to his handset via her cell phone handset as she had received it. She informed him when she forwarded to him it was for further handling, meaning that he needs to investigate further as a communicator and ensure that his superiors are made aware or are aware, and also that feedback is needed to National Head Office, as the initial inquiry was submitted via National Head Office, and thereafter she played no further part in the investigation of this matter. She testified that on the video she saw an individual who had an instrument in his hand and which had fired shots in the air. The said individual, after firing the shots, turned around towards another individual, and he then walked back towards the crowd that he was addressing. She further confirmed that the video received a lot of attention since it projected the image, and I quote the words used, of a huge political figure in our country, and identified the individual to be Mr. Julius Malema, accused 1 before court. Further, in reply to question by Advocate Caesar, she testified that she forwarded the video footage to Captain Mzuko, and he is the colleague she referred to during the evidence as the communications officer for the Mtansane cluster. She testified that she did not tamper with the video clipping or footage in any manner whilst it was on her phone's handset. The said footage was shown to the witness in court, and she confirmed that what she is viewing in court is what was received by her on her cell phone handset, and continues to say that, in I quote, "This is how I received the video," unquote. I will try and, in an attempt to shorten proceedings, highlight the bone of contention raised by Advocate Hodes on behalf of Accused 1 pertaining to the statements by Captain Govender. But to do so, I need to be thorough and all be placed on record. During cross-examination, she confirmed that she held a high position in South African police services and that the reputation of South African police services depends on her truth and integrity, and that it was crucial for her to retain or create a positive image of the South African police services. Further, that the handset she received the video footage on was returned back to SAPS after a certain period of time. She testified that she received the footage from a certain brigadier attached to the National Head Office, one Brigadier Vish Naidu, if memory serves her well. Since it has been some time since she received the footage, she confirmed that she did not attend the celebration in question and relied on the footage she received on a cell phone handset. She confirmed that after receiving the video clip and message, she deposed of 2 affidavits, which the witness confirmed in court was signed by her freely, voluntarily, and in her sober senses, and the 2 statements were shown to the witness by Advocate Hodes and submitted to court as exhibits, already stated Exhibit K1 and Exhibit K2 respectively. I do not deem it necessary to go through the whole process of authentication. It was done and accepted as such by court. The first statement was made and signed by the witness on 20 September 2018 as per A6 in the docket, and the second affidavit as per A96 of the docket was signed by her on 28 March 2019 in the presence of Colonel Swartboy. In an attempt to curtail the cross-examination, the court will read into record the 2 statements and then deal with the concerns raised by the defense on behalf of Accused 1. Exhibit K1, paragraph 1, contains her personal details, rank and capacity, and which includes her contact cell phone number, which I do not deem necessary to read into record. Paragraph 2, that the facts are indeed true and correct. Then I will focus on paragraph 3, which reads, on 31 July 2018, I received a video clipping on my official handset depicting an individual firing shots from a firearm and later handing the alleged firearm back to another individual during the 5th EFF celebrations held at Sisa Dukashe Stadium, Mdantsane, East London, on 28 July 2018 from the South African Police Services National Head Office, Communication Office. Paragraph 4 basically entails the part of the evidence where all communicators were requested to check whether they had any knowledge of any incident in the province, and after several inquiries it was confirmed that indeed it was held on the date and place mentioned, and she had brought this under the attention of the Cluster Communication Officer, Captain Mzuko, for handling. The witness confirmed that the statement is correct and the court does not deem it necessary to deal with requirements as already stated. It is authenticated. The statement was signed at East London on 20 September 2018 at 12 p.m., commissioned by Colonel Rodney Swartboy. Exhibit K2, also authenticated by the defense, and no need to repeat the requirements in law. Paragraph 1 reads the same, depicting a cell phone number, the same as indicated in paragraph 1 of Exhibit K1. Paragraph 2 is also a repeat. Then paragraph 3, I will quote, "On 31 July 2018, I received a video clipping to my official handset depicting an individual firing shots from a firearm and later handing the alleged firearm back to another individual during the 5th EFF celebrations held at Sisa Dukasha Stadium, Tansana, East London, Eastern Cape, 28 July 2018, from the South African Police Service's National Head Office Communication Officer." Paragraph 4 deals with the requests that were received by all communicators. And since it was then confirmed it took place in the Eastern Cape, I brought this under the attention of the Cluster Commissioner, Captain Mzuko, for further handling. The video clipping of the individual firing from a firearm and later handling the alleged firearm back to another individual during the celebrations. The said statement was signed by the witness on 28 March 2019 at 15:30 p.m. and commissioned by Colonel Rodney Swartboy. During cross-examination, the witness then proceeded to confirm and reply to all the questions pertaining to the authentication of the statements deposed to by herself, and there is no need to dwell on this aspect. She was referred to paragraph 1 of Exhibit K1, which was read out into the record, and it is noted, and she confirmed that she had provided a cellular phone number in paragraph 1. Paragraph 2 of Exhibit K, also read into the record, including paragraph 3 and 4 of Exhibit K1, which the court placed on record and the witness confirmed as correct during the cross-examination by Advocate Holders, pertaining to the contents of the said exhibits. The witness also confirmed that the contents of the exhibit as read into the record covered everything regarding the involvement of the witness in this matter. She confirmed that she also deposed of the second statement and read out into the record and accepted by court as Exhibit K2. In answering as to why she felt the need, and I would highlight this being the bone of contention as far as it pertains to this witness, why she had felt the need to depose of the second statement, the witness explained she wanted to indicate that she had The witness explained she wanted to indicate that she had forwarded a copy of the video clipping at the time when she made the inquiry, and that she forwarded the video clipping to Captain Mzuko, which she omitted to mention in her first statement, and that she wanted to clarify that she had forwarded it through to him individually as well. Verbatim quoted as per transcribed record, page 35. The explanation was a matter of concern for the defense. It was put to the witness that her explanation cannot be truthful, since paragraph 4 of her first statement clearly states that she had, I quote, forwarded and brought this under the intention of the Cluster Communications Officer, Captain Mzuko, for further handling, and therefore it stands to reason that it was already mentioned in Exhibit K1. The witness explained that there is a difference between the two statements in as far as she did bring it under the attention, and the second time she forwarded the video clipping that she had received directly to Captain Mzuko at his request. That is why she made the second statement, therefore adding she had forwarded the clip at the request. It was put to the witness that paragraph 1, 2, 3, and 4 reads the same as already stated, and on being, including that of Exhibit K2, and on being asked to confirm that it reads the same, the witness replied, and I quote verbatim from the record, page 36, the video clipping of the individual firing shots from a firearm and later handing the alleged firearm back to another individual during the 5th EFF celebrations held at Sizadukashiman, Tanzania, on that date was forwarded to Captain Mzuko, mentioned, and that did not form part of the initial paragraph of the first statement. On further pursuing this issue, the witness states that there is a difference between the two statements, as the first statement does not mention, I quote, the video clipping of the individual up until mentioned at the end. The last sentence on paragraph 4 is not included in the Stadium, Tanzania, East London, on the said date was forwarded to Captain Mzuko, which the witness confirmed as correct. In this regard, it was pointed out that the video does not depict any firearm being handed over and back to anyone else, and the witness explained that when she viewed the video, she did not investigate the matter. She merely made or deposed of her statement, as she had seen an individual firing shots, turning around, facing another individual and walking back, facing a crowd now without a firearm. And therefore, she concedes she assumed that the said individual might have handed the particular firearm to another individual, and states she did not see it. That is what she assumes. With regards to the reference to, I quote, an alleged firearm, as to why she used the terminology of alleged firearm, she explained that she cannot make a factual reference to something which she had not physically seen. She only witnessed it on a screen, and further that it appears to be a firearm, it sounds like a firearm, but she cannot make a factual finding, and that is indeed her assumption as to what she viewed on the video clip, that an individual fired shots from an alleged firearm. The individual turned around, faced another, walked back without anything in his hand, so that is how I made that assumption. Verbatim, page 39 of the record. It remains to be an assumption, as it is not seen by the witness. The witness confirmed that her cell phone was not taken by subs for analysis at any time since the incident. Cross-examination continued on the same principle pertaining to the second statement as the first statement regarding her assumption of handing the alleged firearm back, and confirms that it remains her assumption even with regards to her second statement. It was also put to the witness that she did not on her own accord decide to clarify her statement, but she was requested by Colonel Swartboy to do so, since it was made about 6 months after her first statement. The witness clearly explained that she was not requested by Colonel Swartboy to depose of the second statement. She was approached and asked at that stage by Colonel Swartboy whether she was happy with the statement she had made on the very first day she became aware of the video clip, so her first statement, and then only she had insight or viewed the statement, and on perusing the statement, she wanted to clarify that she had forwarded the particular video clip to Captain Mzuko. This, however, was not acceptable to the defense, and on further questioning, the witness explains that Colonel Swartboy was busy with the investigation of the matter, and when he approached her to ask whether she was satisfied with the statement she deposed of, she stated or informed him she wanted to clarify this aspect, that she forwarded the particular video clip to Captain Mzuko. It should be kept in mind or borne in mind that from the day she deposed of her first statement up until she was approached to confirm whether she is happy with her first statement, she had no further involvement in this matter at all. She continued with her day-to-day daily tasks. She had complied with the request she had received. Okay. The reason as to why she did not add Okay. The reason as to why she did not add that she did not see a firearm being handed from one person to another, in her second statement, she explained that she did not pay a lot of attention to the video clipping. She watched it briefly, and with that in mind, she drafted her affidavit, and it was written by her, and also that she had no reason to continue watching the video clip as she had watched it, forwarded and deposed of her affidavit, and that it concluded her part in the matter. And all she needed to do was to forward the information to someone to have it investigated further, and that she had done so. She did not investigate the details of the case, and one may say moved on with her daily activities as usual, and did not spend any more or further time dealing with the matter. On further questioning, she replied that she felt it was a crucial point in the matter that she clarifies that she indeed forwarded the particular video clip to Captain Mzuko and therefore included it in her second statement. That was the bone of contention regarding the evidence of Captain Govender. There was no cross-examination by Advocate Matthews and no re-examination by the state concluded the evidence of Captain Govender. The court will now deal with the evidence of Captain, I think now Colonel Nkosiko Vincent Mzuko. He testified that on 1 August 2018, he was a captain in the South African Police Services attached to the Mtansane Police Station, East London, in the capacity as a cluster communications officer and currently holds the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. He has 15 years' experience as a communication officer at SAPS. The duties involve the monitoring of and answering queries or inquiries from the media. He also confirmed that he was on duty on 1 August 2018. On the above-mentioned date, he testified that he received a video clip from Captain Govender, who also works at the media center at the provincial offices situated in Zwelitsha. He testified that the video he received was trending on social media, and the inquiry was with regards to if there were or there was indeed an event of this nature that occurred at Mtansane. The witness testified that he confirmed that indeed there was an event of this nature that occurred in the Mtansane area. He testified that the video depicted Mr. Malema as well as Mr. Snyman, and in the video Mr. Malema was shooting a firearm upwards. He continued to testify that in the same video, Mr. Malema handed over the firearm to Mr. Snyman, and that is where the video ended. The video was sent to him by Captain Govender via a state-used cell phone, meaning she sent it from a cellular phone to his cell phone. The first instruction from Captain Govender was to confirm the event which he had done, and secondly, to ensure that it is reported or brought to the attention of his commander. And thirdly, he forwarded the video to the phone of Colonel Swartboy, who was the commander at the detective unit at Mtansane. He forwarded the footage via the WhatsApp method. He further reported the matter to Brigadier Nkopo with the above He did not forward the video clip or WhatsApp to Brigadier Nkopo. He, however, in person showed him the video clip. Thereafter, as management, they all sat down together and the decision was made that it must be investigated, that an inquiry should be held with regards to the incident, and therefore a docket is still required to be opened when reference is made to an inquiry. In the matter before the court, it was opened under Mtansane Cas 06-08-2018. At the time he was requested by Captain Govender regarding the events, he confirmed that he had indeed had personal knowledge of the event that was to be held on the 28th of July 2018 by the EFF, being the 5th birthday celebration. You knew this as he had also viewed it on television. At this point, the footage now known to be video clip 3, or as referred to as the viral footage, was shown to the witness, who exited the witness box to enable him to view the footage played in court. After viewing the footage, the witness confirmed that it is indeed the footage that he viewed and received on his phone sent to him by Captain Govender. In his view, the firearm depicted in the footage appears to be a rifle. He ended his evidence in chief by saying he had handed the video to Colonel Swartboy, who is the investigating officer of this matter and will bring more clarity. I need to add that at this stage, we will embark on quite a lengthy cross-examination that occurred. Just a minute. Therefore, cross-examination by Advocate Holders on behalf of Accused 1 confirmed that he no longer has the cell phone in his possession that he used on the said date, as he no longer works there, meaning at Mtansane, and confirmed that it is the same phone he used to forward the footage or the video to Colonel Swartboy. He has left Mtansane, but still within the SAPS, and however he is now based in Pretoria. He also confirmed that he was the communication officer for Mtansane on the 28th of July 2018. However, he had not taken any action as he only received the inquiry on 1 August 2018, on which date he indeed acted on the information. In essence, that paragraph summarizes lengthy cross-examination pertaining to the fact that since 28 July up to 1 August, he had not any action regarding the alleged incident. It was asked or placed before the witness that he was not the first police official to not have taken any action during the month of July regarding this incident. The witness was reluctant to reply on behalf of all other officials, but confirmed that he took action only after receiving the video clip on 1 August 2018 with regards to his scope of duties as the communication officer. As to whether there was an end at the Mtansane police station prior to 1 August 2018,